Hi, this is Stephanie Lotman of Tellybean Knits, and today I'm going to show you how to work a color change when you are working a rolled edge. We are using rolled edging for this cowl, and so working the color changes is not complicated, but there is one way to make it tidier, and I just want to demonstrate that for you so that you feel confident that you are getting those rows correct when you are working your cowl. So I have here the beginning of my little cowl, and I am ready for my color change. I have my color 2 ready for my needles, and so I am going to begin on a right side row, and I'm ready for that color change. Okay, right now my working yarn is at the front of my work. The first thing we want to do is slip that first stitch purlwise with yarn in front. Now this is in the last color you were working. So you can see the very first stitch of our color change is going to remain in color 1, and that stitch has just been slipped. Now that we've slipped the first stitch and we've brought our yarn to the back of our work, it's time to pick up color 2. So for color 2, we're going to knit those first 2 stitches. Now, one thing you probably noticed with that color change is that in the previous right side rows, we have worked a slip stitch and then a yarn over. This is the main difference when working a color change. There is no yarn over here, and that just keeps the transition from one color to the next as tidy as possible. Now, just be careful when you work your next row not to really strangle or pull that stitch really tight. In the rolled edging, we're getting lots of good stretch because of the yarn over that is worked immediately after the slip stitch. So we've just got to make sure that we keep the tension nice and relaxed on this stitch when we come back to it. We don't have to worry about it a lot right now because it's kind of just hanging out on the wrong side of our work, and we are working in color 2. So we're just going to work across that row in color 2, and then I want to show you what it looks like when you come back to that stitch. So there are no other changes in your row when you are working in color 2. When you get to the end of this right side row, the only real difference is going to be that you omitted that first yarn over. All right, so I've just completed the right side row in color 2. The only change is that I have omitted that yarn over. I'm going to switch to a wrong side row. I'm going to slip that first stitch purlwise with yarn in front, bring my yarn between my needles, and then I'm going to work a yarn over. Now on this side I am working the yarn over. You can see I am still keeping that rolled edge on the wrong side row. No change there. So I'll just work back across my wrong side row until I reach that color 1 stitch. All right, I'm back to my color 1 stitch, and I'm just knitting. In previous rows I've been doing a knit 2 together because there was a yarn over there, but because there's no yarn over here, I'm just going to knit that stitch. So those last 3 stitches are knit 1, knit 2, knit 3, and you can see that stitch really loosened up whenever I knit it. And I'm going to do 2 things to adjust the tension. So this is the tail of color 2. I'm going to gently tighten that stitch because it has also come loose. And then I'm going to gently tighten that first stitch. But here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to pull it so tight. Do you see how I closed that up? That stitch is now extraordinarily short. We don't want that stitch to be extraordinarily short. We want to keep that stitch looser. So if you find that you have pulled that so tight that it does not match the other stitches, just go in there. You can use the tip of your left-hand needle to loosen that back up. And the ideal is to try to make the stitch length of this stitch match the stitch length of the stitches in the previous rows. So you can just do that nice and slow and carefully. Just try to get those stitches to look even. Doesn't have to be perfect, just do your best and try not to tighten it too much. And then you can move on to your next row. And if you are carrying your yarn on the wrong side of your work, I will show you how to do that in another tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.